Hi y'all, if you are a return viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira and my channel is all about trying new makeup, talking about new makeup, but also finding new and exciting ways to be inspired by the makeup you already own. If that sounds good to you, I hope you will consider subscribing, and if you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button. Today we are doing, finally gotten a chance to sit down and do a nice demo and first impressions of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau palette. I have been so excited to try this, but I haven't had a chance because my month has been crazy. But today is the day, people, and I haven't even swatched this, guys. I haven't swatched it. So we're going to do that on camera as well. So let's just give you a little info about this palette. It is the Anastasia, the original Anastasia, not the Norvina formula, but the original ABH formula. It is in this beautiful, like, textured tweed-like pattern fabric, which I'm loving, and I hope that this is the direction they go with their packaging. You know, I think this is really cool. It's a nice evolution from the velvety velour packaging, which I know a lot of people hate. I didn't mind. I actually liked it, but I think it is time for them to do something different. I will say the palette size is different as well, at least in my opinion. I think the pans are larger, and I will show you here. I'll hold up my beat up Soft Glam. You can see that the pans are smaller. You do not get a brush anymore, which I'm actually grateful for, because their brushes that they use in these palettes are trash and we just didn't need them. They just sort of took up space. So I'm glad that that's gone. The size of the palette is different as well. So if you can see here, it's smaller all around. I think that is the sizing here is because they no longer have the brush at the bottom of the pan of the palette, but also it's shorter. If you can see that, it's also a little bit shorter. So it's interesting. The palette overall, the size of the palette is smaller, but the size of the pans are larger. Now, I don't know if you get more product in here. Let me see. It says here you get 0.047 ounces in each pan. And here it says you get 0.74 ounces in each. Am I getting that right? Yeah, okay, so the whole palette is 1.34 grams and 0.047 grams each in each pan, which is actually more product than what's in this one. The net is 0.74 with 0.02 ounces of each pan. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. So even though it's smaller, even though you still get the same number of pans, the pans are larger and you're actually getting more product. Now, what you're also getting is a much larger price point. And that's the thing that's what's bugging me a little bit here. Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes have been $45 for about a couple years now. They went up from, like, I think they were originally like 42, and then they went up $3 and they were 45 for a really long time. This bad boy is $55. That's a lot for Anastasia, in my opinion. To give you some perspective, a Natasha Denona midi size palette is $65. To me, Natasha Denona is luxury. Anastasia is mid-range. That's how I've categorized them. You may feel differently. You may consider Anastasia high-end or luxury. I do not. I think they have an amazing formula, but I do not put them in the same category as Natasha Denona in terms of quality. So for me, that price point is quite high. So we're going to see. You know, I haven't watched any reviews. I've tried to avoid. I think I take that back. I did watch one, had it playing in the background, so I was watching it but not watching it. I was getting ready for work, so I kind of like had it on, but I wasn't like paying attention to it as diligently as I probably, you know, would have had I, you know. So I've kind of been thinking about how I want to play with this today, and I want to play with the purple. Remember, I was like, oh, that purple. I want to play with it because I have an idea for a look and I think it would be really pretty and I want to see. So let's do some swatches first. I was going to go right into the eyes, but let's do some swatches first. Let's start off with the first row here, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to do this on my hand. Here we go. So the first shade is Hope. Then we have Lily, Wisteria, Belle, Isle, and Wings. All right, second row, we have Muse, Metro, Peacock, Liberty, Fleur, and Paloma. As you can see, the staining is significant. I will say that when I'm swatching these, the kick up, you know, that sort of like signature Anastasia kick up in the pan, it's there, but not as there as it used to be. So that's interesting. Let's start off with, I'm gonna use the pans here because it'll just be easier for me. Let's start off with Metro, this bad boy here, just sort of like this really pretty terracotta shade. And I'm just going to, and I'm using natural hair brushes, which pick up quite a lot of product when it comes to Anastasia. I tend to stick with synthetic brushes with her line, but her palettes, but I just grabbed what I had in front of me, to be quite honest. And let me zoom you guys in, sorry about that. And I'm gonna turn the lighting back up a bit too. There we go. And the other eye. And I'm going to show you guys what the kick up is looking like, just so you can see in comparison to other Anastasia palettes, because I feel like this is not performing in the same way. And when I say that, I don't mean in a negative way. I mean, I don't feel like half of your pan is turned to dust. Like a lot of people, that's one of the things a lot of people hate about the Anastasia palettes, the OG ones, is how much product that kicks up in the pan, and they felt like they were losing a lot of product that way. I didn't mind it because I just would use a synthetic brush and I tapped really lightly. But let me just show you guys. So it's there, but it's not as, like I said, it's not as there as it would normally be with an Anastasia palette. So then I'm going to switch to my rougher here, rougher 13, and I'm going to go into Liberty. And I'm tapping with this because I don't want this to get muddy, which with these two shades, it's a possibility. So I'm not actually rubbing, I'm just, or, you know, patting. I'm not swirling my brush in the shades. And I'm taking this just a bit further up because I have hooded eyes, so I bring things just slightly above my natural crease to hit my bone, which is here. Do the same on this side. And again, not blending so much as patting so that these shades don't blend together too much to create a muddy vibe. Because the tones can be quite, these two tones can kind of clash with each other and you could get some muddying with them. Okay. And I'm probably going to clean up around here, but that's fine. I did my face already because I did a get ready with me and I did my face makeup first. So I'm fine with that. Now I want to go in with the shade. I'm thinking, I think I want to go in with Muse, but I'm going to go in with a fluffy brush. So I'm not, it's a metallic, but it's a dark one. It's kind of got a bit of almost satiny feel to it. So I'm going to use, do I want to use the same brush? No, I'm going to use a different brush. I'm going to use this Sonia G brush here. And I'm just going to tap, pick that up lightly. And I'm gonna just go in and start applying that. Here and see if it'll apply like a satin. It's definitely applying. I don't feel like it's applying as satiny as I would like. And I'm wondering if it would work better if I wet my brush. It might. But I want to apply it like this first and see what I get. It's definitely applying. I definitely have some fallout, which I'm not surprised by because of the way that I'm applying it. I'm using a fluffier brush to do so, so you're going to have fallout with metallics when you do that. It's just kind of the way the shadow crumbles, you know. I'm going to slightly tap that there, bring that in. Okay. And again, I know I have fallout, but we're going to deal with that later. Now I'm going to take this number 2 rougher and I'm going to tap into Wisteria. Definitely getting more kick up in this shade, but that doesn't surprise me. Whoa. That's a lot of pigment. Whoa. I was not expecting that. Okay. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to build this shade up. No, ma'am, you do not have to build this shade up. Not at all. Okay. Well, that's a bit surprising and not in a bad way. I'm going to go back in just to blend that out because I went a little ham there. I'm shooketh. I'm shook, y'all, at how pigmented this Wisteria shade is. I'm like, for real. I think I want to take a little bit of, Peacock or Hope. I think I'm going to take a little bit of Peacock, just a tiny bit on this outer edge. And I think I'm going to wet my brush for this. So I want you to actually be able to see it, you know, that it's not just like a, I want the shimmer to be there. Got my brush. There we go. And I'm just going to tap this here in between those shades. To help them blend a bit. But also I just want a little bit more shimmer on the eye since I use those other metallics as basically like satins. Okay. I'm now going to flip the same brush over and go back over Wisteria. Wow. Okay. Let me clean up my under eyes, but I've got thoughts, guys. Wow. Okay. Give me a sec. Woo, child. That was a journey. Okay. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I was cleaning up the fallout. I don't feel like I cleaned it up as much. I basically had to redo all of this makeup. That's my bad. I should have just filmed this video, my eye makeup first, and then did my get ready with me, my face. I did it the reverse. And I'm clearly out of practice with Anastasia eyeshadows because OMG, it was everywhere. So basically, and I don't even know if I've fully cleaned it up. Like it's still, I can still kind of see it here, but we're going to cover it up with lower lash makeup. So that should be fine. But OMG, I mean, I had makeup like all down here. Basically, I had to redo my whole face in the time I was off camera. All right, let's do the lower lash line. I'm going to go in with these bad boys. I'm going to start with this little baby 23, and we're going to go in with Metro. And look, I got some here, and that's just from my finger. I'm going to clean that up in a minute. But yeah, this definitely, the kick up in the pan isn't as bad, but the fallout most definitely is still there with this palette, just like it is with the other Anastasia palettes. And then I'm going to go in a little bit with this brush. I just want to blend that out a bit more. I'm going to take a little bit of Liberty. I think I'm going to do a different shade on the lower lash line. It's four. It's four. As far as metallics go, I think I want to do this Belle shade here. Is there a kitty cat walking? Hello, baby. And I'm going to wet my brush. And this one is like a really pretty, like, bronze tone. So let me spray my brush here. And, oh yeah. Look how pretty that is. Just what I was looking for. And then for my inner corner, I think I'm going to do this Lily shade. Brush is still wet, so I'm just tapping in there like that. So pretty. Let me see if I can get this shadow mark off my face. I feel like it's all under my, oh my lower, my upper lip. Oh. All right. I'm going to do some mascara and I will come back and we will talk about it. Alrighty, gang, I am back. I applied my mascara. I used the Milk Rise mascara, and then in my waterline, I applied the ColourPop Cream Gel Pencil Liner in Crybaby. So let me zoom you out just a bit so we can talk. So I actually really like this palette. My one gripe with it is the gripe that I have had with every single Anastasia palette that I have ever tried, all of the ones that I own. It's still one of my, it's still in the top of my, as far as formulas that I enjoy using. But the one issue that I have with it is the issue that I've always had, the fallout. I forgot I made a rookie mistake and I did my face first instead of my eyes, and that was a bad move on my part. Not the palette's fault, that was my fault. Fallout is there. So my one suggestion to you, if you're buying this palette, just as I would say, it's just with every single Anastasia palette, do your eyes first. Do your eyes first. You'll be happier that way. You won't have to keep going back in to fix fallout, because this peacock shade is what fell out. Even though this is the one that I wet my brush to use, this is the shade that was all over my face. So I think next time I use that, I will use probably a glitter glue or something like that, just to keep it, you know, keep it where it's supposed to be, you know? But outside of that, guys, I really enjoyed this palette, and the shade that shocked me the most, the shade that I got the most enjoyment out of using, was the purple shade. I know, shocker, right? You and me both. I am shocked by that. But the moment I applied this shade to my eyes, it was so pigmented and it blended so nicely and it's so pretty. And you know, I give Anastasia a lot of shit about the fact they're always putting like one random shade in their palettes, you know? And I stand by that. However, now having this in my possession and in person and looking at it, the purple actually does make sense. It makes sense because there are shimmers in here that have undertones of purple in them. Peacock has a little bit of that. Lily has a little bit of that. And so when you're using this shade, it actually brings the purple shimmers that are in those shades out. It makes sense when you see it in person. The problem with a lot of like promotional photos with brands, and I really just want makeup brands to get better at this overall, and that includes Anastasia, is their promotional photos. I feel like with this palette, just like with Soft Glam, I talked a ton of shit about Soft Glam when it first came out because the photos made it look like unseasoned chicken eyeshadows. You know, it made it look like a Tarte palette. And it's not that at all. The shadows are incredibly deep and rich and beautiful. But the photos made it look incredibly washed out and like they wouldn't even show up on my skin tone. But of course, that's not the case. They're incredibly rich, incredibly pigmented. That's one of my favorite. It's my probably, it's in the top 3 of my favorite Anastasia palettes. So yeah, this one I think is going to make its way up on the list because I want to use this some more. I want to play with this some more. This is just a first impressions and a demo, but I really enjoyed using this. Even despite the fallout catastrophe, the fallout debacle, I still really enjoyed using this, and I can't wait to take like some of these shades and apply them all over the eye. Like I really want to play, even though Peacock did me dirty, I really want to play with that shade, you know. Muse, I really want to play with some more. There are just some really beautiful shades in here, and I really want to play with Wisteria more as well. So yeah, I mean, so far I'm quite impressed by this palette. I think it's beautiful. Do I think it's worth $55? I don't know. I don't know. I think Anastasia has been slowly going up on their price points just overall over the past, like I want to say 4 years or so. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't necessarily think that the quality has changed that would justify the cost increase, you know. So, but again, it could be due to, you know, materials becoming more expensive. All of those things play a part in the cost of makeup. You're also paying a lot for packaging and for name brand recognition as well. And that's something to keep in mind, that a lot of brands charge what they charge. Not all of them, but most of them charge what they charge because they are who they are. And so you just have to make a choice for yourself if that's worth the cost. Like for me, when I buy a Pat McGrath, it's worth the cost. Natasha Denona, it's worth the cost. Anastasia, usually it's worth the cost. Do I think this palette is worth $55? Maybe. I would say for me, I feel better. I felt better paying $55 for this than I did paying $65 for the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2 Rose palette. I know everybody loves that palette, but for me, the price point, the quality does not match the price point. Sorry. That's a controversial, unpopular opinion, I know. That's just how I feel. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below, guys, do you like this look? Are you interested in this palette? Have you picked it up yet? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. And if you are not subscribed, please be sure to subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.